and citizens who have not received the digital implant must be reported to the National Compliance Hotline. Remember, reporting is an act of unity and protection.
It's Big Brother.
Failure to report will result in penalty. Stay with us for continued updates on the directive.
It's my son. He hasn't gone yet. I'm reporting him now.
Report received. Field unit dispatched.
Receive reward. Secure peace.
Please, Lord.
Report. Receive reward. Secure peace.
Move in. Clear left.
Report. Receive reward. Secure peace. Please
Please, Lord.
move in. Report. Receive reward. Secure peace. Please.
They'll take us if you don't comply.
I obey God, not man.
Non-compliant citizen detained.
My own house!
Another compliant citizen detained.
Father, forgive me.
This brave citizen upheld the Premier's decree, ensuring unity through obedience.
Forgive me.
Hands where we can see them. I did nothing wrong.
Compliance is unity.
How could you do this to me?
I had no choice. They said they'd take us all.
Report. Receive reward.
Keep it moving.
For your safety, comply immediately. Compliance is peace. Processing sequence initiated. Non-compliant detained.
Compliance ensures continuance.
Over 35,000 citizens have been safely integrated since yesterday's directive.
First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone while learned his truth, and also to those elect that scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the type of day lesson is, a man foe shall be they of his own household. So I like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope this help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we start today's lesson, let's go to the book of Luke chapter 12 and verse 51. And it reads, it says, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you, nay, but rather division. So right now we're seeing that the Lord is causing a great division, against each other, against your family members, against your loved ones, pretty much against the people of the Lord. Pretty much if people are not in this truth, the Lord's gonna put a division there, a separation. So that's constantly what we're seeing left and right. So we're seeing in the opening video whereby it said, be a good citizen, said turn in your loved ones. So right now we already knowing that a man foe shall be they of his own household. Foes goes into what? Enemy. So, so your wife, your daughter, your husband, etc., would be your worst nightmare, because a lot of people is going to comply. A lot of people are going to submit and consent. One thing about it, so a lot of people are not going to have faith. They're going to say, hey, I'm going to take it. I have to eat. I got to do this. I got to do whatever I got to do. So you seen whereby they, a lot of them was, crying and say, I had to do it. Forgive me, Lord. But one thing about it, the Lord is not going to forgive you. You are going to be unalive, not unalive. You're going to be put to death in that lake of fire, Salaki. So you would have to suffer that second death if you comply. So we're seeing right now that, when you go back to 2020, that C-19, that was like a test run. But we already know that this is coming back around again. They was giving out free food. They was giving out what you call these little gift cards, different thing. If you go take the Hokey Pokey, Hokey Pokey 1, the Hokey Pokey 2, and 3. And also, he will tell you, anyone that has, that is un C19, tell us, let us know, and what I'm saying, and they would, we'll report them. Go ahead on and report them, then, they'll lose their job. Let us know. We don't want this, spreading. I got to be careful what I say, so you understand what I'm saying. So, what happened back in 2020. So, this is going to be a precursor what is coming, but we already knowing that a lot of people are going to comply. A lot of people are going to line up. A lot of people going to cause, which in fact your own family member will cause you be put to death. So let's read this in the NLT. It said, "Do you think I have come to bring peace to the earth?" Said, "No, I come to divide people against each other." So exactly right. The Lord said, "I come not to bring peace, but a sword." So that sword goes into judgment. So we're seeing that the love of many is constantly waxing colder and colder. We're seeing a lot of people are walking in great pride and great misery befall them. And also we know that a lot of people are despisers and unbelievers of the word of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. They're going to be totally destroyed. A lot of people don't have faith. They don't have works. And one thing about it, we already knowing what is getting ready to befall them. It's going to be a great division in the land, but we're going to constantly trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Also we know that great persecution is coming, great tribulation, great sorrow, great mourning, and also great death is right before us. So now, let's start back up at verse 52. Said, For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. Verse 53, here's the point. Said, the father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, and the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, and the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So that's the division, that we constantly seeing left and right. Also, they're unaliving one another. We're seeing that mothers and daughter, they're killing one another. We're seeing sons and father are killing one another. We're seeing aunties killing nieces and nephews. A lot of things that the Lord is calling these things to happen, And also we know that a spirit of vengeance is constantly moving through the earth because the Lord is bringing forth that judgment. The Lord said, I'm not, he's not come to bring peace, but a sword. And also the Lord said, first my judgment was started at the house of Israel. So we already know that, first they hated him, they also shall hate you for what? For his name's sake, for this gospel. You know what I'm saying? That's where we at right now. So, a lot of people right now don't understand what they're involved in, but you get ready to find out. So when they come with this implementation of this grain of rice, either you take this or we're going to take you to the guillotine and behead you. So a lot of people are going to be afraid to lose their life. Anyone that is that try to save their life is going to lose their life on this side. So right here, this one of them right here. So it's going to be a great division. The Lord is calling this to happen left and right. All the undesirable, the two part therein shall be cut off and die because they did not trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So we're not even worried about our life all the way, to the finish line. So let's get this other one here in Matthew chapter 10. Man foe shall be, your enemy. Man foe. Say a man foe shall be they of his own household. So your worst enemy, your worst nightmare. So right now your family could be a distraction. So right now we got to trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Because one thing about it is that whatever you lose on this side, the Lord said you'll get it back 100-fold. All we must do is constantly trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. This is a very quick lesson, and hadn't really put nothing together, but just seen that video, and then I decided to put my little spin on. So it's Matthew chapter 10 and verse 36. Let's go straight to the point. Let's go here. It says 36. It says verse 36 said, a man's foe shall be they of his own household. Let's read in the NLT. Say your enemies will be right in your own household. So right now, you got people, and like in my family, no one is near the truth but me. So I know at a certain point in time whereby when things get very, very bad, when we all got to make a decision when it comes to that, what is it, Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10, the hour of temptation, the hour of testing. I already know what is getting ready to happen, at that particular time, hoping and praying that I'm a part of the hope and elect, that the Lord will put me in a secret place, which in fact, when you go to Psalm chapter 91, that hedge of protection, that's what we're looking for, left and right, because your family is going to turn on you, left and right. We constantly warn you, left and right, or here's a man foe shall be his what? His enemy, right in your own household. So that's why we got to constantly be locked in. We got to constantly be prayed up, keep the faith. And also the Lord said that the just shall live by faith. So that's what we got to have each and every day. We got to have that faith. We got to believe, stay locked in. So let's go here to, let's get doing here Mark, these just random scriptures. Mark chapter 8 and, I think it's around verse 35. One that saves his life shall lose his life. Let's get this right quick. Here it is right here. It's going straight to the point lesson. It said Mark chapter 8 and verse 35 said, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel, said the same shall be saved. So who is that? The one that's, constantly doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashim Al-Shai, what the true believers. So right here, one that saved his life, a good example of that, when Lot and his two daughters and the wife, that the Lord, said, he told him that he was going to destroy the city, and no one going to be saved but them, but, which in fact, that's kind of give you an example of the elect. So we already knowing that what had happened, that Lot's wife looked back. Remember Lot's wife. So one thing about it, she was more, her mind was more concerned about the possession and the thing that she had back in Sodom. When she looked back, she basically was trying to save her life and she lost her life. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, don't look back. Whatever it is, if you got to leave your loved ones, you get separated from your children, your wife, or whatever it may be, just trust and believe in the Lord. So put them in the Lord's hand, and you got to move forward. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about that, the one that loses life for what, once again, let's read it once again. It says in the NLT, it says, if you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, and for the sake of the good news or the gospel, this wisdom and this knowledge, you will save it. Salvation. And one thing about it, don't be the same that endure, the same shall be saved. Even though we're seeing that, all these things that's going on around us, we're going to constantly trust and believe in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. So we know that great persecution is coming. The Lord already said it here. Let's go here to John. Let's get a little bit of this here. One thing about it, we can't trust in man. We got to trust in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Let's go here to Psalm chapter 118. Psalm chapter 118. So it's straight to the point. We got to be locked in. That's why the Lord said, lean not on your own understanding, but trust and believe in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. The Lord shall direct our step in those times of trouble. The Lord's going to put a spirit upon us where we'll be able to, persevere even in death. Let's go here to Psalm chapter 18 and verse 8, I believe. Here it is right here. Let me highlight it right quick. It just read better this way. It says here, Psalm 118 and verse 8, it says, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man or trust in man. So I read in NLT, say it is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in people or trust in man. So that's exactly right. We got to put our total trust in the Lord. We got to have the faith. We got to believe all the way to the finish line. We cannot doubt. So let's read this once again. Say it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence or trust in man. So exactly right. So a lot of people don't put their trust in man and his system and his technology, and and you're going to lose your life. You would have to suffer that second death, which in fact is the lake of fire. So now let's go here to let's get another one, about this great division. Let's go here to Micah, just random scriptures, and then we're gonna close out. Micah chapter 7, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's in Micah chapter 7. We'll start up at verse 5. Micah chapter 7 and verse 5. It says here, it said, trust ye not in a friend. It said, put ye not confidence in a guide. It said, keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lies in thy bosom. Verse 6 said, for the son dishonors the father. The daughter rises up against her mother. Said the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man enemies are the men of his own house. So we seen in the opening clip where, the son turned in the father, a wife turned in the husband, and vice versa. And I think it was a grandson turned into granddaddy also. I think that was on there. Oh, forgive me doing all this crying and weeping. But, we already know the 2/3 are going to be cut off on their side because they were rebellious. They did not want to return to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. And also judgment will first start at the house of Israel. So the Lord's going to read out, separate, destroy these rebels, you know what I'm saying? And so the Lord's gonna purge them out, put it in that sense. So that's where we at right now. So, it's gonna come a time where everyone's gonna have to make a decision. So a lot of people gonna want to have that sense of normalcy. I got to eat, I need my medication. You know what I'm saying? I want to go back to work or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? I want to be happy. And one thing about it, you're not going to be happy here. This place is going to be totally destroyed. We already seeing how the war drums are beating. We seeing that DJ Donald Trump is constantly, poking the bear, and also we seeing that rumors of wars are all over the place. And so it's very, very important that you seek the Lord right now because we are running out of time. We seeing it right now. It's right before our eyes. So let's get this one here. St. John's, so we already know at first they hated the Lord, also they shall hate you. So we already know the Lord had his hour when Judas betrayed him, so we know what the Lord went through. We also shall go through it too. And one thing about it, the servant is not greater than the master. So let's go here to St. John. Where is it here? St. John. One moment. I'm always slow with the blue letter. See here, St. John chapter 15, and we start up at around verse 18. John chapter 15 and verse 18. And it reads that if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. So one thing about it, we already knowing that, it hated the Lord. You know what I'm saying? First, because of what? We are speaking the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So that's automatic. They're going to hate us also, for what this gospel say. You know what I'm saying? For his word's sake. You know what I'm saying? You see how these things are lining up? Let's read this once again. St. John chapter 15 and verse 18. It says, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. So one thing about it, so that's automatic, so hey, this same rebellious house, you know what I'm saying? They hear today, there's no new thing under the sun. Verse 19 says, if ye were of the world would love his own, but because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you. So exactly right. So we already knowing that, we're not of this world, even though we live here. We try to provide. The Lord has given us the necessities, what we need, to live in this wicked kingdom until His great and glorious return. But we don't give a damn about this society right now. We don't give a damn about what's going on all around us. We constantly trusting and believing in the Lord, and we are hastening His great and glorious return. We're not even worried about what we're getting ready to face, which in fact is Jacob's trouble, a time of trouble that we've never seen before. Let's see here. Verse 20 said, remember the words that I said unto you, said the servant is not greater than his Lord. Said, if they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. Said, if they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. So that's what we're going to let it go right there. But we're seeing right here that, you're also going to get persecuted. So the servant is not greater than the master. So let's get this one right quick. Let's go here to Revelation chapter 2. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. Let's get this, because, this is what's getting ready to happen, so they already setting the stage for this right here. So we already seeing these ICE patrol, the military, the UN troops gonna come in here. Also these sleeper cells. A lot of things already is set in the motion. Also, your family member, so when it's time of trouble come, they're gonna be telling left and right. Cause some of you to be put to death. We've seen it lining up already. We've seen about these stamp benefit. You already know they're gonna do whatever they need to take to get that sense of normalcy back. And one thing about it, they're trusting in the shadow of Egypt, and they will be totally destroyed. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10 said, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, said that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Said, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that's what's getting ready to happen. A lot of us are going to be persecuted. A lot of us are going into these facilities, and also some of us are going to the guillotine. But right here at the end, it says here, said, be thy faithful until death, I will give thee a crown of life. So that's exactly what we're waiting on. Salvation, immortality, rulership, spiritual power. So we already knowing that, we're going to get persecuted. We hate our life to the end. So we're not even worried about this, what's getting ready to happen. We constantly rejoicing. We constantly are getting prepared, for greatness, man. And, I'm telling you, man, the Lord is, man, we're here. Let's get this one here in Revelation. There's something when we go to Revelation chapter 6, and then we'll get one more and we'll close out. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. Let's get this one here. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. No. Revelation chapter 9 and verse 6. I had it backwards. One moment. See, I think this is it right here. If not, we'll move on. Revelation chapter. Let me see. Might have been in verse 6. Let's try it one more time. If not, I'll move on to another. I'm trying to figure out what that scripture was at. Let's see. It might be verse 9. Let's see. I think it's this one here. That's what we see how it reads. It says here, Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9 said, and when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Almighty and for the testimony which they held. Let's get here. It said, let's see. I think we'll stop it right there. We'll stop it right there. So right there, so right here, that, it's telling us that, they was martyrs, for this truth. But the Lord, said, be thy faithful until death, he will give you a crown of life, So we ain't gonna go too deep into this because, it's gonna go into something else. But we see it right here, that's letting you know that, a lot of us, some of us are going to be martyrs for this truth. And, we are prepared. And one thing about it, we're not even worried about our life. We're going to trust and believe in Yahweh by Shema Shai. Love life. We love not our life to the death, you know what I'm saying? Because right now, we ready to get out of here. This is not our rest. So let's go here. All this rambling I'm doing. Let's go here to, I think it's Revelation. Is it Revelation 12? There's one more I want to get. That's what I'm thinking about. Salaki for that all over the place. Let's see. Revelation 12 and 11, a little bit sleepy too, but hey, it is what it is. We're going to get them new bodies soon. This might be it right here. And this is it right here. I kept quoting it. This is the one I want right here. It said Revelation chapter 12 and verse 11 said, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So, hey, that's it. That's exactly the elect. So that's where we at right now. Even in death, we're going to constantly trust and believe in Yahweh by Shema Shai. So now let's go here, and let's get this one in Matthew's. We're going to get this one in Matthew's. Let's go here to Matthew's chapter. And this is your family, who you really put your trust in, which in fact are men of the Lord, a woman of the Lord, that great multitude, that followed the Lord over 2,000 years ago. They're here right now. So this is what the Lord said in Matthew chapter 12. I can get it to pull up. Let's see here, Matthew chapter 12 and verse 48. Let's drop down here. You know, so a lot. Yahushua made an example to show that this is my family here, talking about the disciples. So let's go drop down to verse 48. Let's get this example here. So this right here, we always our true family is the house of David, also the true believers of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the brotherhood, so and also the true believers, so that's where we at right now. See, that's why we got to always be around a men of the Lord, stay in the house. Let's see here. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 48 said, but he answered and said unto him, and that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? And this is what the Lord said here. It said, verse 49 said, and he stretched forth his hand towards his disciple and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. Said verse 50 said, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and my mother. So right there, it's telling you right there, the one that's doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that is your family. That is your household. You can put your total trust in them, you know what I'm saying? Which in fact are the true believers, man, I'm gonna tell you, my tongue is dried out, but we see it right here, right there. So the one that do the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, we're not gonna bend, we're not gonna fold. So let's go here to our last and final script. Let's get this one more, Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, and we'll start up around verse 10. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 10. Let's read this and we'll close out. Matthew chapter 5, we'll start up at verse 10. And it reads, said, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for there is the kingdom of heaven. Verse 11 said, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all matters of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. That's getting ready to happen. You're going to get persecuted. Great persecution is coming. Verse 12 said, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted are they the prophets which were before you. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So right here we knowing that we're coming upon a time whereby they're going to implement this this grain of rice, and everyone on the planet is going to have to make a decision. We already made our decision. We're going to trust and believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, even in death. But we already know that these wicked two-thirds, what they're going to do, so there's going to be a lot of betraying. There's going to be a lot of love of men is waxing cold. There's going to be a lot of, kill or be killed. So we coming upon that lawless time, but we're seeing right now they're setting the stage for that. They're putting people in a chokehold. A lot of people have a lot of desperation, sorrow. A lot of people are afraid, but we're not afraid. We're going to constantly trust and believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We're not going to put our confidence in man, put our trust in man. We're going to trust and believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. The Lord will get us to the finish line. So the title of the daily lesson, once again, a man foe shall be they of his own household. So let's give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rikah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.